Welcome to Let's Talk About It. A podcast gives a platform for real talk, real people, real topics, real conversations. Please subscribe, like, comment, enjoy this journey, and enjoy this ride. Welcome to this week's episode. Welcome, everybody, to Let's Talk About It. A podcast gives a platform for real talk, real people, real topics, real conversations. Ladies and gentlemen, I have an interesting topic today and an amazing guest on today. Today, we're going to talk about liposuction. And we're going to talk about, lipo muscle repair. We're going to talk about tummy tucks. My guest today is a salon owner. She's a former NCAA cheer coach. She's going to discuss her journey from college all the way up to the decision why she decided to go to have this liposuction surgery. But before I bring her on, I want to tell you that this little fun fact. In 2024, right? Check this out. Over 400,000 surgeries, liposuction and lipo muscle repair surgeries were performed in the United States. That was just last year. That is over 400,000. My guest today is one of them. Over 2 million. 2 million. This is since 23 has been performed around the world. We're going to get her story today, and it is also a 99% success rate. Bridget, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing good.
All right. First
Thanks
and
for having me.
foremost, yeah, thank you. Thanks for coming on. I mean, to talk about this. This is a big thing out here. I mean,
Absolutely.
before I get into it, like, how's your Saturday so far?
Good. Good. I'm enjoying my hour of freedom, which I can explain later what that means.
Bridget, let me ask you something, right? When I said 400,000 people in the United States, like, what does that mean to you?
I think it's amazing because I think there's so many people in the world who do have flaws, and I think it's amazing that there's people out there to help them get over their insecurities and move past traumas and things like that. So I think it's great that people do it.
Oh, now I know you're on TikTok and Facebook and maybe other couple platforms. You're
Yeah.
doing a daily check-in on your after the surgery,
Right.
right? So before we get into your story, like, what made you decide to do that part?
Leading up to the surgery, I had entered into some Facebook groups of people who had surgeries, going through surgeries, thinking about it.
Yeah.
And there was so much negative. People would reach out into this group about all the problems that they'd have if a stitch blew or, just anything like that. And it became fearful to a lot of people. And I'm pretty well mentally adjusted to the universe. And I think, God is a higher power. And so I went in with a really strong mind. But I talked with my boyfriend about it because, that's a big deal to put all of that out into social media.
Yes.
And he was on board with that. And we wanted to set out to change the outcome of this group and make it more positive by my journey because I knew I was going to handle it like a little warrior. And
I love
that's
this.
why I chose it.
I love it. Bridget, let's go back to NCAA days. You was a cheer coach.
I was. Yeah. My whole life I danced, cheered, set out to go to college with a full ride scholarship at Moorhead University in Minnesota for cheer. Actually, the summer before I went to go to college, I got pregnant with my ex-husband and never made it there to do what I set out to do. So my life path changed a little bit because of that. But I did end up continuing being an NCAA cheer coach for the next 15 years here in South Dakota. So,
Yo, now, how hard is that? I mean, like, I mean, you got different personalities,
and
the
yeah,
girls, and I guess some guys too. Like, they use guys as bases or
yeah.
something like that. Like,
I used to coach. I started coaching at a high school level, and
okay.
that was extremely hard because you still had parents in blabbing and making waves and whatnot. Um, and then I thought, okay, I'm going to go to college. I scored this great job. Like, it's going to be better. It's 10 times worse. Like, the
Whoa.
parents are now eliminated, but you have, I coached at South Dakota School of Mines and Technology, which is an engineering school. So I took on this job knowing that none of these kids coming in were really athletes, and I had to make them athletes. And I was the actual first coach at this college.
Wow.
So I had to establish the guidelines and rules and the grants and all the things that came in with that job. And unfortunately, there, when you're making kids athletes who are quote unquote nerds, there's a whole new element. But I actually did great with it. I had a team of 20. I had 10 boys, 10 girls, and I had the highest compliments ever in the history, because before then it was just kind of a pep club type
Yeah.
section or whatnot. Really, they haven't been able to secure anybody with my skills yet. So the team has kind of went this way.
But Bridget, let me ask you something. Are you still in contact with your old cheer guys, cheer people?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's a couple of them that, I mean, I don't want to say were my favorites, but
Yeah.
I mean, it happens. They're more like you personality wise. They get the sport, they get what you're doing. And then you get the ones that just did it because they needed the scholarship that they were going to get for doing it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Oh, that
But
that that
yeah,
is awesome right here. Does any of your former cheers, are they doing teaching themselves? Are they cheer coaches themselves?
they're not. No, they all went off to do big people job in engineering worlds.
Yeah, that is mad crazy. Because so basically, you taught them how to cheer. You was in charge of what the academics and the studying and all that
Yep.
stuff like that,
Yep.
and doing your own personal thing because
Yeah.
you had a
I was
child at
still
the
working
time or no?
behind my chair at my salon. And at that time, I actually owned my own salon. Since then, I have moved in with one of my best friends at her house. And now I rent a chair in her home from her. So,
Oh, that's
yeah.
awesome right there. So what made you go from? So what made you get into your or you having your own salon?
I actually did. I just always did. I came out of beauty school and I am a big traveler, and
Yeah, I
I
know.
can't work for somebody that tells me when I got to work, because when I want to go, I want to go.
That is amazing right there. I am so happy for you. So let's get into the part where, like, what was the first moment where you discovered or you was having like thoughts of like, what I mean, like, you wasn't feeling comfortable. I'm assuming you wasn't feeling comfortable about yourself. Like, what was that first time?
So oddly, I have never been insecure about my
Oh,
weight
okay.
or
Awesome.
my body or anything like that. Like I said, I'm a very big person that believes in the higher power of God. So God wouldn't like look on this and be like, oh yeah, you should do that because he created you who you are. What actually triggered me to do it was my divorce. Um,
Oh,
so I was divorced 10 years ago. I was married to a man who was abusive in all forms, mental, physical, emotional, everything. I had two babies with him and
okay.
believed, you got to work through things and whatever. The abuse got worse, and I left. So I did it for trauma reasons, because it was like a piece of me. Like, it took me 3 years to get divorced from him. And over
Yeah.
that time, stress eating, not being able to take care of myself properly, I had gained over 100 pounds in 3 years. Um,
Really?
so I was at 260. I'm 150 right now. And yeah, I had nothing but loose hanging skin, that I hid very well. Most of my clients had no idea until I'd show them my before and after pictures, and they're like, wow. So,
So you was very comfortable your time, right? Because right now I'm going to talk about stereotypes. Because
yeah,
when you say you was on that group, a lot of people said this is like thousands
right.
that they felt uncomfortable and they went through mental issues and stuff like that.
Hmm.
You didn't go through any of that.
I did not have the same type of mental issues. Like, Generally, I'm super outgoing. I'm not afraid of anything. I love traveling, love airports, love planes, whatever. But I got my drain out, and my boyfriend and I went to go have coffee and get my nails done because I'd had my nails off for 3 weeks. And as a stylist, that just doesn't ever happen in my world. I've had them since I'm 16.
Okay.
And a girl in the coffee shop had made a remark, oh, she must have just had surgery because I still had compression socks on. And I became like sweaty palms, and I could just feel like my heart racing. And so I had a little bit of social anxiety, actually.
Really?
And then that kind of was my day 8. I never had like crying and depression and regrets or anything like some of the other people do. But I did
Yeah.
have a little social anxiety. But I mean, once I got on the plane and on that first flight, I was like, okay, I'm fine.
Cool, cool. Now, before we get to that part, so you didn't go through this whole stereotypical thing of what's that word? Not body, it's body shaming, but body shaming yourself.
Yeah.
Uh, did you go through that? Because 'cause that's what they say a lot of people go through.
I mean, I hated this pouch of skin because I mean, I'm telling you, I got 16 pounds of skin removed. And so I hated it because I always felt like it was sitting on my lap, or
Okay.
whatever. So, but I didn't really body shame myself because I loved who I was, and I knew that the outside didn't matter.
Good, good, good. So,
Yeah.
all right. So you got divorced. You got your salon
Yeah.
right now. You were still good with it. So let's get to the point. And I'm assuming you're in a relationship now, so there was
Yeah.
no issues there with him either.
No.
So let's get to the point. Now, before we get to that point, how'd you hear about, liposuction and tummy repair and tummy tucks? Like, what was your first initial thought in your brain when you heard about all this, but before you decided to do it? What was your first initial thought about
I've always thought it's great. I mean, I think it's my industry that I work in. I work with a lot of people, and you hear a lot of stories and journeys, whether it's divorce, plastic surgery, Botox, just anything. And I think it's important for people to feel good about themselves inside and out, just because of my industry. I
it?
don't always have to agree with that, but
Yeah.
I do believe, that if that's what's going to make something happen for you and make your life a little bit better, then go for
Oh, that is amazing.
it.
Now, the clients at your salon, did you have discussions with them, the people that you saw? So were they more
Yeah.
negative about it or was it more positive about it?
No, I mean, I have a unique set of individuals in my chair. They've been with me for 24 years. And of course, I have younger ones and different things too. But my core clients who are my every 4 weeks, every 6 weeks, every 8 weeks, they are like family to me. Anyone who sits in my
Awesome.
chair becomes family. And they've seen me go through absolutely everything in my life, or whatnot. So anything I wanted to do or try or travel, like they are 100% backing and supportive of whatever I want to do. And you
Oh,
can't beat that. So
no, hell no. Support is perfect.
yeah,
Now,
I had one client who raised the concern because I did travel
okay,
to have my surgery outside of South Dakota. Um, so she did raise the concern of just like, have you thought if something goes wrong when you get back home, what you're going to do? Because like surgeons here don't want to take on other people's projects and whatnot.
okay.
And I said, yeah, I have. But I felt confident in my decision and my research and um, the doctor I chose.
So
So,
that's the first thing I want to ask you. What was your research like for all this process?
oh Lord, I became obsessed with finding the right surgeon. And so I did a lot of watching in this Facebook group. I did a lot of Instagram, YouTube, um, just research, reading
Yeah.
about it, checking the websites to make sure they're double, triple board certified,
Oh,
making sure their death rate was nothing. Like you really
did you
don't want
say
to.
death rate?
Yeah, yeah. There's been doctors who have people who have had like an extended tummy tuck, liposuction, anything like that, who have died on the table. So
Whoa,
it
whoa,
is
okay.
a real situation. I mean, it's a huge, huge surgery. I mean, I think some people think it's it's just plastic surgery in and out. It's ambulatory. You're fine.
Yeah.
I mean, you are. filleted like a fish for real. Like when I say that, I mean, you are my surgeon. He videos all of his surgery. So if something happens, he has all the documentation. He needs to protect himself as well as protecting us who are under anesthesia on his table. Because
Exactly.
there are people who say, um, that they're talked poorly of, or, why they're passed out, or surgeons have touched them inappropriately, or, anything like that. So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely.
So I actually got to see and take pictures of certain parts of my surgery that I wanted. Um, and whatnot. So, yeah, I mean, to like look at a picture and see yourself on a table with like spatulas
Ooh.
holding you open, and then come out with this pencil line scar, you're like, wow. I mean, so when I say
Ah,
filleted like a fish, I mean it.
okay. Bridget, I know there's going to be some people out there who's probably going to want to know this question, know the answer to this question. What was the moment where you decided that you was going to do this? Because I know there's a lot of people out there that's kind of like, wish-washy about this
Yeah.
and stuff like that. What was your moment where you said, even when you talked to everybody, your family, your clients, I mean, your
Mhm.
boyfriend, what was your moment where you decided you was going to do this?
I think my moment decided I was going to do it was I travel a lot with my boyfriend, and we go to a lot of really great places. And every one of them, because we both are beach lovers, is a beach. And the last kind of trip that I had taken, it was a group trip with several of us. And my boyfriend had, well, it was me and my two best friends, and we were holding hands and running down to the beach. I mean, literally, it was because one of them had to pee in the water. So,
Hey, man, we all
so
do it, right? We all do
he's gonna kill me for saying that, but but we were running down the beach, and he is great with photos and memories and things like that. And he had captured a really great photo of the three of us holding hands in the water.
it.
And I hated that photo, but I loved it at the same time because it was just such a great photo. But I could see my fat rolls over the top of my bikini, and I was just like, "This is crazy. This is crazy." Like I went through so much to lose this 100 pounds, and um, I need to get rid of this trauma. Like I've got to detach from this trauma, and so I specifically picked my date accordingly to get
Okay.
rid of my trauma. So
Okay, okay. So I know you posted you went down to Florida to do this, right? I think it's in
yes,
Miami area.
yes.
Okay, so walk me up to you're about to get on this flight. And no matter of fact, walk me to the point when you got in contact with these people to make your appointment. Walk me up to that point.
I like I said, I've been doing research for a very, very long time, and I found Miami Life Plastic Surgery Center and a doctor, actually two doctors there that really I felt like I could connect with. Their work was super great. They had a lot of pictures of women with tattoos. I have some tattoos that could be a concern if or whatever. And all of their work with girls with tattoos, their tattoos remained intact, and
Ooh.
we're fine. And so
Yeah.
that was really important to me because I do have a lot of tattoos.
Okay.
So I chose my doctor, or that surgery center, because of specific reasons that tailored with my beliefs. I didn't want to have, I'm not really big on medicine,
Yeah.
which
Neither am
can
I.
be
Yeah.
controversial. But
Mm-hmm.
they
Mm-hmm.
were on board with my game plan. And that's hard to find in doctors. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. All right. All right. So when you found this doctor, I assume you went through a consultation and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And
So I actually scored a really great deal on a Black Friday special through their clinic.
what?
Yeah.
Hold on, wait, hold on, man. Hold on, man. Hold on. They got a Black Friday sale for plastic surgery. Oh
They
shit.
do. They
Get the
do.
fuck out of here. You serious?
Dead serious.
Oh God. All
Um,
right, go ahead.
yeah. So I had been thinking of it and knew what clinic I wanted to go to, and just kind of was scrolling through their page, and this deal popped up, and you could put a $250 deposit down and secure your surgery for up to 2 years. at that price. So I was like, okay, perfect. So I called and well, I sent an email. There was like a link, or whatever, and
Yeah, yeah.
paid my deposit or whatever. And she's like, "What day do you want?" And I was like, "Well, how soon can I do it?" And she's like, "We got openings. You just tell me a day." And I said, "December 23rd." She's like, "December 23rd is 2024." I said, "Yep." And she says, "Okay, Dr. O is not working that day, but Dr. Kaufman is." I said,
Got
"Okay." And Dr. Kaufman would have been my first pick. And so
it.
I was like, "Sign me up."
You did this 2 days before Christmas.
I did.
Wow,
I
that
did.
is some shit. Now, you know what? This may be, I think a lot of people may know this, but for the people who don't know this,
Hmm.
procedures like this do not take insurance, correct?
Um,
Or
no,
no?
it's very hard. Like, I could have went through the process because of my weight loss, and probably got my insurance to pay for it. But in South Dakota here, you're looking at 28 to $30,000 to have the surgery done.
Holy shit. You
Yeah,
serious?
yeah. And so when I tell you what I paid in Miami, yeah, I mean it's insane. So I had an extended tummy tuck, lipo 360, and a muscle repair for $5,500.
And that's cheaper than insurance.
Yes,
Fuck.
yeah.
Let,
And
let,
the
what,
doctors in Miami, I mean, Miami's a city of plastic. So, I mean, they do these things like, you know,
wow.
all the time.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to add this too. In 2023, 2022, 23, and 24, there was an average of 160,000 tummy tucks in the United States, 95% success rate. I just want to throw that in
Yes,
exactly. This is a this is a big time thing here. So
it
you
is.
pay way less,
Yes,
right? Okay.
yes,
So now, okay, you got your appointment December 23rd. I know you said on your site you went in earlier to have some downtime, you and your
yeah,
boyfriend, right?
yep,
So as you having your downtime, I assume you guys had a great time because you always
yes.
posted you all over the world everywhere, right? You guys are having a ball, which I'm jealous of. I love that right there. Um, Take me through the morning when you had to go on December 23rd.
We set the alarm for 4. Both of us are not early people, and I
Yeah,
had drawn the 5:15 a.m. check-in time because you don't actually, when you go there, you don't know what time you're going to have surgery.
yeah.
So at post-op, you go in, you check in, the doctor talks to you, you make your plan of what you're going to do, and then the morning of, you or that night, they will send you a text message and say this is your surgery time, and you just got to be there. So I drew the 5:15 slot in the morning, which was the first surgery of the day, which I was completely blessed to have because you want your doctor at the best situation
Yeah, yeah,
when they're
exactly,
opening
exactly.
you up. So I was really glad. So we got there. We got up at 4. We took an Uber to the clinic and got dropped off. We checked in at probably about 5:30 because they actually were late coming.
Okay. All
Which,
right.
you understand it's Miami. There's traffic. So
Oh, that's true.
we got checked in, and I had to take a drug test that morning and a pregnancy test that morning to make sure you weren't running into any complications or whatnot.
Okay. All right.
And obviously those are fine. So they took me back, put an IV in. They didn't start anything because at this clinic you have to physically like walk and put yourself on the surgery table. Before, if you're like nervous or whatever, usually they'll start your IV drip, so you get a little
Wow.
like
Wow.
okay with life. So
Okay.
that can be a struggle for some people too.
Yeah,
To
yeah, yeah.
not be able to do that, but I got on the table. The anesthesiologist and I started talking. She was really fabulous and super funny and whatnot. The whole staff and team there was unbelievable.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And so the last thing I kind of remember is Dr. Kaufman walking in and he said, "Do you want me to tell you a couple of jokes or do you want to just breathe?" And I'm like, "I just want to breathe." And I remember the mask coming at me, but anything after that, I was done for.
Wow. All right. So you had your surgery. How many hours was it?
2.5 hours.
2.5 hours. It was videotaped,
Yep.
for like, so he can see what's going on just in
Yeah.
case, protect himself or
Yep.
whatever. Did you actually get a chance to watch this?
Yeah. So, because of the date I had, December 23rd, the clinic was closed the 24th and the 25th. So a typical person would have been seen the next morning. But I wasn't seen until my third day, because the clinic was closed because of the holiday. But they gave me like specific things to do and not to do during those 2 days, since I
Okay.
wasn't going to be seen. But they have a, like, I had the doctor's direct phone number because of the holiday if something was wrong that I could get in contact with or whatever. And they had a hotline if you had questions or anything like that too, with full staff. So yeah, so that's kind of how that went down or whatnot. But on the 25th, when I got to go back and get my first set of bandages off, and see myself for the very first time, he had the video, which at day three, um, that's a lot going on to look
Yeah.
at, and you're a
Yeah.
little bit in shock,
Yeah.
because you've changed overnight, and of course, like, you really don't feel it because you're so bandaged up originally. So I was a little bit in shock, but Troy was definitely all in. He's all in on that kind of stuff. So he actually kind of went on the sidelines with Dr. Kaufman, and he kind of scrolls through it. I mean, you can tell him when to stop, but he's explaining, the 2 hours and scrolling fast through it so that you can like see. So we had pictures of when they first cut me open, when they did the lipo, my muscle repair before and afters, and then just some of my pictures filleted open. And then
All
obviously
right.
my skin.
This is crazy. I'm loving this. Um, before I get into, matter of fact, I will ask you this right now. I know your boyfriend was there with you at the time down there in
Yeah.
Miami, and you posted how supportive he was. We seen all that he was making breakfast and all like that. That's a real man right there, bro. You watching
Yeah.
this? Yeah, you're a real man. When you did, how was your family members like this? How'd you tell your family, your kids and stuff like that? How were they with this?
My kids were, I mean, my sons are 26 and 22,
Okay.
and they both are just like, okay, let me know you're alive.
That is
I'm
crazy.
just kind of that way. I have a goal and I set out to do something and I'm going to do it whether anybody likes it or not. So they weren't not supportive, but they weren't like,
Well, I'm
I
listening.
don't
Go
do
ahead.
this.
I'm keep talking.
And so, unfortunately, I my dad passed away when I was 21. And my mom is in a nursing home. So I did not tell my mom until after it was done, because I didn't
Really?
want her to worry about me. So I just told her I was on vacation. Um, and unfortunately, this will kind of circle us back to why I picked the date, but I
Okay.
don't have a relationship with my brother and sister,
Oh,
because my sister slept with my ex husband, and that was the cause of my divorce. So,
oh
yeah.
shit.
So I
Okay.
had
Wow.
asked for a divorce on Christmas Eve, and I have become a Grinch about Christmas
Yeah, I
since
guess
then.
so.
And so that's why I picked the surgery date of December 23rd, because I wanted it to end all the trauma that
Yeah,
was
yeah.
attached to my body with that situation, and be able to move forward with my life, with my new boyfriend, fiance, husband, down the line. So
Yes, yes, yes. Now, I notice people gonna want to know this. Like, what did the doctor tell you, like, to how way you have to perform after, like, diet, nutrition, exercise, gym? They tell you any of these things?
are you talking before, did you say?
Like after the surgery was over with. Did they
Oh,
tell you any of this?
yeah, yeah, yeah. So I have 6 to 8 weeks where you can't do anything. You can't even lift over 20 pounds.
Okay,
So after that, though, I mean, they're very clear on the fact that they can only do so much on the table and the rest is up to you.
okay.
He'll get you to where you need to be, but beyond that, that's on you. So if you don't have proper nutrition, if you don't take care of yourself, if you don't choose the right things in life, you're not going to have the results that you set out to do and paid for. So protect your investment and take care of your body. So Um, I'm diabetic, and I have a great doctor here, Kinsey Schultz, and
Okay.
Dr. Schultz.
It's okay. It's all right. I got you. I got you.
That's
I
how
got
she
you.
is here. I mean, that's how she says
I
that.
got you.
So
That's
it
how it
was,
is up there.
she is the one that set me on this journey
Mhm.
to lose the weight and whatnot. She's an incredible doctor. And so just working closely with her and obviously my surgeon, I don't have any problems with diabetes. I'm actually at a 4.8 level for my A1C, which is way below but diabetic levels. And I mean, unfortunately, when you're diabetic, you're just labeled a diabetic for life, even if you're not anymore.
Okay.
So basically, my life changed when I met her. And
Okay.
I have been able to stay steady on my diet and my weight loss. And then when I plateaued, um, that's when I decided I was going to do the surgery because I knew it was just weight that wasn't going to go anywhere. And I was never going to get to where I wanted to be unless I did it.
All right. Remember, right, when we talked before, I asked you, right, a question. You answered it right away. But I'm gonna do it in two different ways this time.
Okay.
Okay. Before you had the surgery, when you looked in the mirror, did you see was that mirror a villain or a hero?
I think mirrors are villains. I mean, like I said, I've never like had that experience, looking
Yeah.
in a mirror, but my job, I'm in a mirror 24/7. And so, um, you can start to pick flaws, whether it's like, oh, I need a little Botox here, or, like whatever on yourself, but I'm never like an urgency. But I say it's a villain because even anybody who's in like sitting in my chair or anything, they don't want to see their hair wet or, slicked back or whatever. So I think mirrors are villains to people, just in general. I don't think
Wow.
there's too many of us out there that look in the mirror and be like, I'm freaking great. Like, I
That-
think we look in the mirror and we're like, dang, I look tired. Or, like, I think there are more negative thoughts in a mirror than positive.
Yeah, I can tell you right now, the villain. It could be a villain for me so many times. I think it's been you know what, Someone said to me once that the mirror is a hero to you when you got on a nice outfit,
Hmm.
but as a villain when you sitting there ass naked and you're looking at yourself, and if you turn yourself to the side, that's when it's really a villain, right?
Yes.
so, right, so I decided to do that shit. And like a lot of people think guys don't go through that shit. And that's
Yeah.
not true. It's
Yeah.
a lot. It's a lot of guys that go through
Absolutely.
all that. And it's a deep thing. I just want to get your opinion about it. But let me go back to you said you had to wait like 2 or 3 days before, I mean, after Christmas, right? When it opened up.
Yeah.
What was that first night like when you got back? Because you guys were at a hotel, right?
Yeah. Yeah. We stayed
Okay,
at a
what was
hotel.
that first night like? Was it painful? Was it discomforting? Like, run me through that first night.
I had an extremely different journey than most people will. I was really blessed. I speak into existence what I want in life, and
Okay.
so leading up to this for months, because I planned to do it, I just didn't know it was going to happen that quickly. But I was like, I'm going to have a pain-free surgery. I'm going to have no complications. I spoke my affirmations into what I wanted, and I didn't realize they were going to work in 30 days.
Wow.
So my first night was, I mean, I woke up and they literally were like, I remember just a surge of hot air being blown on me.
Okay.
And I seen a girl like playing on her phone, and I was like, gosh, I'm still tired. And I closed my eyes again, and then I opened them up because there was a surge of hot air, and I was like, I'm so hot. And the girl came over, she goes, okay, we're gonna get your shoes on and get you out. And I'm like,
Shit.
and so I don't really remember putting my shoes on. I don't remember really how I got into the wheelchair, but I do remember going down the elevator and my fiance like waiting outside by the Uber. And I remember he kissed me and I got in a car. And when I got in the car, I was like, call my kids, let them know I'm okay. I had a group text together of friends and stuff, let them know I'm alive. And then we got to the hotel, and I had hired a guy to come in from GHS Infusion Miami
Okay.
to come in and give me an IV. Because
Okay.
obviously, you think of anytime you're sick in a hospital, the first thing they do is put an IV in you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then instantly you start to feel better.
Yeah.
So my doctor and I discussed that here, and she, was one that was on board with getting that IV in because you will lose so much, prior or after surgery. So I hired this company to come in and put this IV in, and I literally went from tired and groggy to feeling like I could go lay out by the pool like that quickly. Um, my fiance was really good about keeping me on a regimen. I did not take no pain medications, no anything throughout any of this.
You serious?
Um, no, never. I took Tylenol for the first 3 days because the doctor's like, keep on Tylenol just in case, or
Wow.
whatever.
Okay.
But I did have injected into my stomach when he closed me up right before he closes you up, a shot called the Exparel shot, which is a 72-hour time release
Yeah.
um, pain medication for the muscle repair. So it's not really
Okay.
for the surgery, but it is to help with the tightness of the muscles. So I think a combination of the IV and the Exparel shot set me off on a really good path first thing. After my IV drip, it was 30 minutes. I did take a nap for about probably 2 hours. I got up because I had to go to the bathroom. He helped me get towards the bathroom. I was able to kind of do that part without help,
Okay.
once I got
Okay.
up.
All right.
But yeah, and then he had me start doing some calf raises and kind of what the doctor told him to keep me going so I wouldn't get blood clots or anything like that. And then we just started our regimen of every 4 hours getting up and increasing the time I walked until I was walking an hour. So my first day was easy, extremely easy. So,
Wow. You know what? How how was it like? Tell me about the conversation, right, with you and your fiance when we decided to do this, and also how grateful for you when he was there for you all this time.
um, I kind of sprung it on him. I mean, we had talked about having it and getting a BBL and things I wanted to do because obviously, when we get married, we're both beach people, so obviously it's going to happen on a beach. So I wanted to look good for pictures, so I didn't look back at them years later and be like,
I love it.
but yeah, so I kind of sprung it on him actually, because I didn't know that Black Friday was gonna happen, and I didn't know they were gonna have December 23rd. But he took it like a champ. He was like, "Okay, okay, I'll be there."
I
So
love it. I love it.
yeah, yeah. So he is super supportive on things that I do because, like I said before, I'm kind of a goal setter. And when I say I'm doing something, I'm doing it. And you're either on board or you're not coming or you're whatever. So
Yeah,
whether it's my
I
friends,
see.
anything. So
I definitely see. So how has it been for the last? It's been what? Technically, it's been 3 weeks now. A month now.
well, on Monday I'll be 5 weeks.
Okay,
Um,
5 weeks.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I went back to work at 2 weeks.
Okay.
At day 15. Usually people are off for 4 weeks.
Okay.
With this particular surgery. But my doctor did release me just because I was doing so well. And honestly, the whole entire time, I mean, honestly, I'll tell you, the worst pain I ever had was when she put my IV in right here. She must have got like
Oh
right on
yes,
the
the
side.
vein.
And it
Hmm.
kind of pinched right away, but it's all on me because I didn't say anything. I was like, it's fine, it'll go away, like whatever.
Mm.
But that was like a 1 out of 10. But it was mainly the problem because like when you had to get up, I couldn't like use this hand as strength.
Yeah, yeah.
So um, that was literally the only true pain I had throughout this whole entire journey. So
Your pain threshold must be like through the roof. I mean, you take nothing. Like so how's the movements and like they tell you to be careful, like because
yeah,
you in a salon, so you're
right,
constantly moving this and that.
right.
How was that for you? That process when you went back to work?
Um, the first day I went back just part time. So part time for me is about four colors. And so, like, yeah, I mean, I couldn't like bend over because we have a cabinet, that's down below our sink. And so I couldn't bend over to get my towels, but my coworker, she's fabulous. I mean, she's my
Yeah.
best friend. So, she would put towels up on the stuff, and in the mornings we'd look at what colors and stuff I needed, and she'd have that all laying out on the countertops for me.
Mm.
If I couldn't wash people or whatever, she would, but I was able to because our height on our sink was like perfect where it wasn't too much bending. Um, so yeah, I mean, and my clients were patient and, helpful. If I drop a comb,
Okay.
they'd pick it up before they left and put it in my hand sanitizing thing and whatnot. But, like I said, I mean, I just had a really good support system back home. So back home was just as easy, as when I had Troy there. So
I love it.
yeah.
Now, Bridget, how is your nutrition still the same before and after, or has it changed?
Um, no, um, I did eat bread last night.
That's fine. There's nothing
But it
wrong
was
with that.
sourdough.
There's
No,
nothing wrong with that.
I made sourdough, so I had to try it, right?
Hey,
So
nothing wrong with that.
no, I mean, I am pretty much fish, chicken, and red meat, fruits and veggies only, and that was my diet
Protein.
prior to that. When I did tell my doctor here in town that I was going to have this done, she switched me to all carnivore because protein heals you. So for 45
Really?
days prior to surgery, I was on all protein. And then during surgery and the recovery phase, like I said, I'm still a carnivore. So right at this
Okay.
point, minus last night, I ate bread, but it's not going to kill me. So,
All right.
so
So
yeah,
nutrition did so it changed a little bit.
yeah, just a little, but I mean, generally I would have ate high protein anyways, but with more fruits and veggies. So,
So your doctor changed up everything when you got back, right?
um, before I went the 45 days, she changed me to carnivore, and then she told me for about 12 weeks to stick with it because it takes 12 weeks for your body to heal completely from the inside out. So
So you're 5 weeks in. How do
yeah,
you feel right now?
I feel normal. I feel like myself, and it's luckily like Troy and I have an adjustable frame bed. So he works out in Dallas, and so he's gone during the week and just here on the weekends generally. And so I was a little nervous of how I was going to like function without him here because he did do so much for me.
Yeah, you was posting that.
Um, so yeah, so I was really glad I had this adjustable frame bed. Because that was that helped me out for that first like 2.5 weeks.
Okay.
But now I can use my own muscles to sit up and
Okay.
and go and whatnot. So and then I mean this is a big deal for girls, but on week 4 I finally could bend over enough to shave my legs. So that was exciting because he was
Oh,
shaving my legs
that's a
prior
great
to that
thing.
for me. So
Yes, yes, yes. Now, Bridget, I can tell you right now, a lot of people gonna want to know this. Maybe some people want to know. How are you gonna handle everything after the 12 weeks is over?
I actually am gonna have my fiance. He was a bodybuilder, so I will have him personally train me to tone up my arms and my thighs because I can't. I'm not taking the easy way out and just getting them lipoed.
Oh yeah.
And then obviously now that I have my muscles back. I can get my 6 pack abs back like I used to have when I cheered and danced and gymnastics. So I'm going to work on those and I'm going to create my own. A lot of people don't know that, but your surgeon can actually give you your 6 pack and you don't even have to work for them.
Really?
But I did not
Shit.
have
Give me the number.
exactly.
Right, shit.
So, but I did not choose to have that done because I am so strong willed that I'm going to do it myself. So,
I
um,
love that.
yeah, yep. So, really nothing changes. I 2 years ago set out on an exercise regimen. I have treadmill here and weights and resistance bands and everything. I'm not a gym girl, so I'm gonna build it at home.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. I got mine's right over there. I got my home gym. I got everything over here. It's
Yeah,
all
yeah.
good. Bridget, I can tell you right now, but before I wind this down, I want to ask you this right here. Plus, before we get to my little game, which you're going to love too. And at the every end of a podcast, I give you like the last word. But out of all your experience, this whole 5 week experience leading up to it, like, what does this mean to you right now? The whole
Um,
process.
the whole process. Um, that's a tough question because it takes so many different meanings, to it. I'm very thankful for God above, first and foremost, for
Mhm.
giving me the opportunity to have such an easy recovery. Um, and then secondly, for my caretaker and my hubby, Troy. Just I couldn't have done it without him. I really couldn't have. There's not a lot of guys out there that will take 2 weeks off to sit in a hotel and get up every 4 hours. Um, Wipe your butt when you can't. I
Hey,
mean,
that's a man right there. It's a man.
um, and then obviously coming home and having all the support I've had here, I couldn't do my job and I couldn't went back to work in 2 weeks without them either. So what it means to me now is being able to get on these platforms and to encourage people to do these types of things, but do them safely, do them with research, do them by talking to other people who've had surgeries. Make sure you're choosing the doctors and you're well taken care of before, after, during, and after with nutrition and things like that. Because without that happening, I probably wouldn't have been in these shoes either. So to me, I mean, there's a lot for it, but to me, it's just I'm excited because I get a fresh new beginning with no trauma. I get to love Christmas again,
Okay.
and I get to continue my life happy and with the person I love. So
Hey, on your social media, that you're doing right now, this came to me right quick, especially like when this comes out.
right.
Do other women has other women asked you questions and come to you with this already?
I have gotten so many new friends from being on social media platforms and women who have reached out to me. And we text almost daily. Some are headed into surgery in February and March. And we've kind of walked through what I did, and they're going to try and repeat the steps and hopefully not have to do the pain meds or anything too if they do the IV and the Exparol. Or whatnot. So it's kind of nice because you're kind of mentoring and getting to help people, and they don't have to pay for the advice. So
You're like a lipo life coach.
yeah. I feel like there's a calling for me to reach out to people with my experiences because it is fearful. I mean, I had a girl who messaged me on TikTok who was gonna cancel her appointment, and I talked her into it, and she went, and she just texted me with me last night. We talked for probably about an hour on text, and she's doing good. So,
I
and
love that.
she's like, "Thank you. I appreciate everything you do. Please keep putting your videos out. Please help. Helping others." So, yeah.
All right, Bridget, are you ready to have some fun?
All right, let's try.
You sure? Bridget, you will love this. It's so good. Trust me. It's gonna
All
get
right.
you thinking.
Oh man, it's too
Yeah, I
early
know,
in South
right?
Dakota for that.
Yeah, exactly. It's just ten little questions.
Okay.
Ready?
All right.
Okay. What is one thing people misunderstand about you?
Um, I've heard that when they first meet me, that I look like I'm a bitch.
No. You serious?
Yeah, they say I have like a look of just like arrogance, and that I could come across kind of bitchy. So, but fun fact, I'm not. So
No, there you go. There you go.
I laugh unconditionally all the time. Like laughter is truly the best medicine.
I
So
love it. I love this. Bridget, what is your guilty pleasure?
my guilty pleasure, travel. I mean, if we're
Yes.
talking about whatever, if it's food, um, cake. I love cake, carrot cake.
Oh, I love chocolate cake. Oh God, it's ridiculous. I gotta stop eating that shit, man. Seriously. It's either that or deviled eggs, because if you eat enough of that shit,
Yeah,
it's just no
yeah.
good for you.
Right?
All right. If past you could see present you now, what would they say?
You're a warrior, you're a queen.
You're a badass, right? All right. What is one thing you would change about the world today?
Oh, that's oh, there's so much I would change.
Only
Um,
one.
yeah. Ah, gosh, this is tough.
Yeah.
I would change because I'm an interracial couple. I
Okay.
would change the way people look at us.
Well, yeah. Well, if you want to change that, you gotta go to Europe.
Right,
Because
right.
trust me, I'm in the
So
same
basically,
boat. And
it
they
would be like end racism or the difference
listen.
in
You know
colors.
what? I'm in the same boat. They do the same shit to me. But you know what? If we go over to Europe, it's no problem over there,
Right, right.
right? Next one for you. If you could participate in one historical event, what would it be?
um,
Mm.
I don't know. It would have to do with something to do with medicine, and bringing us back to more homeopathic remedies and herbs and things like that.
Oh, so you're going
So,
with the whole East medicine. Okay,
yeah,
not the
yeah.
Western medicine. Okay, I got you. I got you. All right. If you were somebody famous in a past life, who would it be?
Mm. I don't really desire to be anybody. But I
In a
think
past
Marilyn
life.
Monroe,
Ooh.
she was a quote unquote heavy figured girl at the time when she wasn't.
Yeah, she
And
was
the
like what,
way,
size 8, 10, something
yeah,
like that?
yeah.
Yeah.
So I think she set the standards of you don't have to be a size zero. And people need to get back to that.
All right. What's your favorite moment as a kid?
Oh, probably traveling with my mom and dad.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you have a favorite moment? Like the favorite spot you went to?
Hawaii.
How was it out there?
Hawaii's beautiful. Yeah. I was out there during COVID and I'm telling you,
Really?
yeah, yeah.
Damn.
I took at the time I was working at the hospital and I had to take the jab against my
Yeah.
beliefs. But
Yeah,
I was
trust
going to
me. Yeah.
Hawaii and you had to have it to go there. So
Wow. Trust me. We can talk
die
all
hard.
day about that shit. Trust me. All right. Three more for you. What's your walk-up song or theme song? Do you have a theme
uh,
song or walk-up song?
yeah, I love a fight song. So
Because you're a badass. Yeah. Mm. This should be a good one for you. Has social media improved or impaired society?
it can go both ways. It really can because social media can hurt relationships, businesses, anything like that. Fortunately, I haven't really had that much of a problem with it with my business or anything like that. But also on the plus side, like what I'm going through now, I'm able to reach out to so many people all over the world, not just locally. So it goes both ways.
Okay. Last question. I hope I don't get you in trouble with this, but I'm asking anyway. Have you ever had a celebrity crush? And if you had, who was it?
Celebrity crush. Jason Derulo.
Wow. That's the first one. Wow. Wow.
Yeah, no, yep, he's got those nice abs, and it works.
Oh my God.
Must be why I picked a bodybuilder, right?
Right, right. There you go. There you go. Bridget, you know, my last question for me for you is this, right? How does it make you feel personally that all these women are reaching out to you and you're giving advice because you actually talked about it earlier. How does that make you feel personally?
It makes me feel good. I mean, anytime you can reach out and help somebody out, even if they're struggling, I mean, that's a great gift to be able to give. And I think because I am such a believer in God and I do walk by faith, not by sight, um, I mean, that's the same thing the Lord above did for all of us and continues to do for all of us. So to be able to pass that on to future generations is huge. So
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you heard about her. You heard about her story. She has an amazing journey. Bridget, I appreciate you so much for coming on here today.
yeah,
Uh,
thanks for having me.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is an amazing story. But matter of fact, before we go, right, if you mind people follow you on your social platform,
Yeah,
you can tell them
yeah.
where it is.
Facebook, it's Bridget Michelle. Instagram, it's NCAA Cheer Coach SD. And on TikTok, it's Bridget.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you are watching this on YouTube, please like, subscribe, comment, share. And for my audio listeners on Spotify, Apple, and iHeartRadio, give this a good rating, a subscription, and a 5-star because you're gonna love this episode here. Ladies and gentlemen, we will see you next week on Let's Talk About It.
Thanks
Peace.
again.
Thank you for watching the show. Please like, subscribe, comment. Stay tuned next week for another exciting episode on Let's Talk About It.